So the point of why we're here today is to just talk about these written theory tests and point out things that usually students miss or struggle with so that we can kind of troubleshoot with our students before we start. And first thing to acknowledge is that these tests are very different from like festival tests. If you do that, they are unique in the formatting, the way they give directions. So it's really important just to practice these tests with your students so they know exactly what's going to be expected and they can be prepared for it. As I put on the little handout for teachers, it's important for us to make sure they can do these skills independently and not just follow along as we do them, because that's a big thing. Students will act like they understand, and they kind of do until they have to do it on their own with no help. So you want to make sure that, bottom line, students can walk in and do this with very minimal guidance and minimal help. On the primary test, I didn't really think there was anything horrible that we needed to talk about other than just, using flashcards with your kids and drilling these things. Did you guys see anything on a primary test that you think are really troublesome for kids? Or is it pretty straightforward? Anything on primary?
Straightforward, I think.
Yeah, we don't usually have kids who have too much trouble. Things like starting the music alphabet with A instead of C. You always get kids who want to start on C. But, other than that, I don't think that we usually have kids who really struggle, other than things that they should use flashcards for. Bass clef, treble clef, quarter note, half note, all those are
And there's a lot of free apps
pretty straightforward.
that
Yeah.
students can use
Mhm.
for note recognition.
Yeah. So I think primary is, it's pretty straightforward. If you guys are good, we can move on to level 1.
Got it.
So a big thing is half and whole steps for level 1 on written theory. Tons of kids miss these. And I think that it's important for us to, first of all, make sure they can find them on the piano and they know what they look like on the piano so that they have a relevant attachment to it rather than just something random on a piece of paper. So you want to make sure that they can actually find it on the piano. And one thing I have my students do that I think is helpful is to actually write the note names on the paper and then go to their keyboard, play it on the keyboard, look at it, and be like, okay, it's a half step, it's a whole step. Right. So I think writing the note names on the paper is a huge help, and then finding it on the piano, not just guessing. Actually name it, find it, look at it. And then they usually get them right. And keeping in mind if sharps or flats go up or down. Because sometimes when students are trying to find them on the piano, they'll get mixed up with the sharps and flats. I think the other stuff on page 1, I think is fine. When you have to write the beats for the notes and the rest, always remembering that a whole rest in 3/4 time is 3. That tricks kids.
That's not this level though, that's next level.
No, I think it does pop up on some of them. Because it'll say, like if you look at number 5, see how it gives you a time signature?
Yeah, I know, that's in level 2.
Oh, I'm
Not in level 1.
well, I'm just showing you on level 1, like this one is 4/4.
Yeah.
But on some tests, we have had, I think, a 3/4.
Okay.
And if there's a whole rest there, they have to know that that's 3.
I think it's very misleading when they see that 4/4, they're used to seeing 4/4 measure.
Yeah.
Measure,
they
I
do.
know.
I've had a
This
lot of
is
students that
Depends
beats.
on
I don't know how you
Counting.
can rewrite it, but I think it's very confusing to kids to see this long string of notes unless you really tell them about it.
Right. Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
just gotta be alert. They're not
Yeah.
music.
And I think in level 1 also just, they need to definitely know which clef they're strong at, because sometimes they.
For naming.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that, the fact is that they only have
Oh,
to
yes.
pick one clef, so make sure that they have it.
Okay.
They're ahead of time, yeah.
Some person have practice both classes with that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, no, they are, reading
Yeah.
both clefs.
Right.
but when they take the test,
I know,
just
they
like,
really mess that up.
Yeah.
make sure you know which one you're picking.
Yeah.
I think it's very difficult for them to read the directions.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's
and
part of
follow it.
doing the
Sometimes I think,
practices.
I know I should have them read the directions to me.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, read the directions, do it, then read the directions again. Did I do what it asked me?
And
to
you
do?
can have them underline the key words and the directions. You know, sometimes it's like 3 lines of stuff. So underlining, circling, you know, what am I actually supposed to do?
What part did you say?
And the one nice thing is the directions will never change. It will always be the same format. So if they can learn how to do it with the practice, that's how it will be.
Then you know what to expect.
Right, yeah. On the matching for level 1, of course, students mix up the bar line and the measure.
Yes.
And an alto clef can throw people. So, you know, just knowing little things like that. All right, let's keep going to level 2. When they're doing sharps and flats, you want to make sure that they put the sharp sign and the flat sign after the letter, like F sharp, not sharp F. Students get mixed up with that.
The way you say it.
When they're writing the scales, I think it's so helpful, again, to have them play the scales so that they can go from piano to staff paper and they understand what they're doing.
As long as they know they won't be able to play piano during the actual exam.
Yeah, well, and you can have them,
They'll have to.
you can have them practice playing it on a piano keyboard. I would do that so that they're used to that, you know, fingering it without hearing it. And then make sure that they know if they're going to use a key signature or accidentals. Some students work better one way, some students work better another way. And so, major seconds and major thirds. This can be so hard for these guys. And I know there's a variety of ways to teach this. One thing I like to do with my kids is the first thing that we do is just draw the next note. Count up and draw it so that you know you're on the correct line or space. And then I have my kids do all the intervals from the bottom. Minor second, minor third, major third. You know, there's a variety of ways. Do you guys have other suggestions?
I tell them number first and then, you know, the quality of it.
Mhm.
So, and then, yeah, minor second, major second, they go all the way through.
Right.
12.
Tell them intervals first, accidentals if needed second.
Mm-hmm.
But always tell them not all the way up, even at level
Yeah.
7 and level 9, because they forget that, they'll do the out.
They'll do
I
the
use
key,
the
they'll,
illustration of the Christmas tree. You gotta have a Christmas tree before you can decorate it.
Right, that's a good idea. That's a good
I
idea.
like it. So by this point, they all know their 5-finger pattern starting on white keys. And so the second is going to be the second note of that 5-finger pattern. So they do refer a lot to the actual 5-finger pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pin scales are a good way to tie that in. But that is definitely an area of need with students.
Oh, yes, for
We
sure.
get a lot of points off in that area. The rest of that page I feel like is not a big deal. Oh, and here's what you were mentioning, Gigi,
yeah,
with the
it
whole
is
rest.
it's
Yeah.
level 2 that does that.
So that's
Chameleon.
yeah.
Keep
Funny.
changing.
Is this the only?
I know.
And for this one too, the idea is some students are very used to writing and counting 1, 2, and 3, and that's not what
And-
they're asking.
They don't realize that those are all eighth note. Those
Right.
are all half a beat, because we get that sequence wrong. a lot.
Yeah. They look different, but they're all the same value.
I think that's a wrong question to ask students. I've always felt this was wrong. They don't count this way when they play,
Yeah.
but yet they have to write it this way.
Well, it says
So-
number of beats as opposed to counts, but yeah, I mean, it
Mhm.
is confusing. And usually when we see them, we tell them, no, we wanna know how many beats it equals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else on level 2?
I think that number 7 is the hardest thing in level 2, right after those intervals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As we continue, level 3, naming major keys. Kids have so much trouble with key signatures. And I know there are a million ways to teach it. I know the traditional standard way of teaching it. I put a shortcut on the bottom of this handout that I know traditionalists will probably be like, that is so stupid and that is cheating. But I've seen Wendy use it with high school choir kids for all, or in middle school for all state tests, kids who don't know anything about theory, and they can get it.
Yeah.
So if you have a student who is struggling in the normal, conventional ways, this does work. Just to put, you have your order of sharps. Fat cats go down alleys eating brownies. C has 0 sharps, and you go from there. And I've used that with some students to help them when they have struggled remembering the other ways. And for flats, you just go the opposite direction. And in the handout, I have that listed later as an example of how to see that. But kids they have so much trouble with key signatures.
It's not their favorite.
So, and of course, there are all the tricks, but it's a definite area of need. Do you guys have other things?
I think with key signatures, that's a lot of repetition that they
Yeah.
just constantly need. And they can, see it in their pieces too. What key, what scale is this piece in?
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep reinforcing. I think that is one of the ones that needs to be over and over again.
I do it on the keyboard too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lyndon Norton used
0,
to
1, 2, 3, 4.
5, yeah. And have them play the scales in that order and everything.
No.
Yeah, I know, do the fifths. And, mhm.
Yeah.
Lyndon Norton used to teach the sharps in her books when she did them. That C, if you just take C when you're drawing C, just take it over, it makes a 0. And then you go to G as 1 pencil mark and then D is 2 pencil marks.
That is hilarious because one of our high school boys brought that up 3 years ago in choir, and everyone was like, they laughed because they were like, that's a cheating little shortcut, but it works through E.
Right, and it doesn't work.
So it doesn't work after E,
Right.
but yes, 1 pencil mark, 2 pencil marks.
Okay.
It does
Okay.
work
That
get
one.
going is how I feel.
Uh-huh.
They think it's so hard to be.
It does
They're going to
eventually
get it.
click. It does take
Yes,
a while
right.
and I think by level 5 or something, that's when they're like, okay, I guess I better know my CC.
Yeah.
Or 3, probably 3.
I read it.
But-
3. You should
Oh
know.
yeah, because 4 is where they have to start actually drawing them.
Right.
So 3.
Yeah.
Okay, continuing on in level 3, we have more of those intervals. Number 4, drawing triads in different keys. Some students struggle with this, but if you'll just do the key signature at the beginning,
Yeah.
Then you're
and
just-
snowman.
yeah, and then you're just drawing chords. So that really should not be that hard for kids. A lot of kids miss the major and minor. And I feel like if you've done a good job of teaching intervals up to that point, they should be able to figure out if it's a minor third or a major third. In addition to some kids just memorize it. But, just looking at those bottom 2 notes, you should be able to figure it out. We'll have kids that flip them all. I've seen that before in theory, where they've
They're
just
all
done
literally incorrect.
just about, and you're like, you have no idea what you're doing. So, on actual tests.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that. So, so it shouldn't be very hard. If you just make sure they know that bottom interval. And let's see.
You can also relate them to 5-finger patterns.
Yeah.
So, whether or not it's missing a note.
Which in our, I feel like a lot of our lessons, I don't have time to keep doing 5-finger patterns. We do them and then we move on.
Yep.
And it's sometimes they they always remember the easy ones.
Right.
But some of the harder ones,
Some of them rely on their ear
right.
for the 5-finger patterns.
Yeah.
And if you-
And that's
right.
where this doesn't work with, so if they're
Mhm.
relying on their ear, they do have to understand the minor second, major second, minor third, major third in order to get this.
Have you done the snowman chords? Because most of these are all white key chords. They're not
Mhm.
asking for the black keys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the snowman is C, F, and G, and then they become
One black is.
cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburger, yeah.
Yeah, like
D-A-N-E.
one of my middle school boys said that would be a pretty dark cheeseburger, Mrs. Blackwell.
No.
Hey.
So, but it gets you through everything but B, and then they just have to
The
know
B is a
B.
weird
It's B, B's itself.
But and they would just reverse, like E,
The minors
A,
are
D, E, and A
Yeah.
are all cheeseburgers, and they go into snowman for the minor, and then you just throw the B in there. And it gets them using it. I have them play their arpeggios that way too.
Well, you can relate it even to the order of sharps and flats. So the fat cats go, that's all white, white, white. Down alley's eating, that's the white, black, white. And then bananas is its own thing. Or brownies or whatever it is.
Okay, okay. I don't think about
Your
that.
choice.
Yeah.
Over there, yeah.
That's a good idea after eating.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. As we continue on, I think for number 7, where they have to write in the counts, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the past few years, we've just required them to put the
Yes.
number for the beat.
As long as they get the first part of the beat correct.
In the right
The
place.
number, the 1, so this is in 2-4 times, so as long as they have the 1 in the right place and the 2 in the correct place, so not 2 as a general, like 4/16 and you put it in the middle. It would have to be lined up with the first 16th.
Now, if they have 2 eighth notes, they have to put 1 and?
No.
No?
They just have to put 1,
Wow.
is what we've been doing.
Okay.
It is the first time, so level 3 is the first time that they have to write counts. And so I can't remember if somebody just told us to do that or that was something we just came up with, because a lot of teachers teach differently for even eighth, and so as
What
long
about
as
an
they
eighth
have-
rest? Like for that, if they add an eighth note and an eighth rest, you don't have to put anything for the eighth rest?
I don't think my memory is bad, but I think as long as they had the 1 and the 2, we were good.
Okay.
And it added to be the correct amount of beats.
I feel like
So
you would want to try to have something written for every figure.
no, yeah,
So-
for teaching wise,
Yeah.
they have to write. I do the 1 eanda and the 1 and so my students write it all out. We do have a lot of teachers that don't do that. So
So
as long
they're
as
only
they could
required
do
to do
that
the one
each
at
rest,
the
though, if you
whole
don't-
values, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 1, 2.
so the way we've been grading is that if they put the beats, so the 1 and the 2, because it's in 2-4 times. So if it was in 4-4, as long as they put the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and put it correctly on the beginning of either 16ths or the beginning of 8ths or whatever it was, as long as they knew where the beats were, that's how we graded it. Now, I don't know if that's what you guys want to keep doing, but this is just for reference. This is the first time that they are writing beats, period. They have never written out beats for quarter notes and half notes for any test. They have not written any eighth notes or 16ths. And I feel that if you're going to have them write 8ths and 16ths, that really should have been like a little further down. They should have already had the writing the beats because for my student,
They've done it here.
but they don't. So that's, I don't think we're trying to change the test.
No, I'm not saying, but they have already done it here. They've had to.
Well, those are the note values.
designate
Those aren't the
each-
count.
No, those are.
They've had to do each value under every
No.
single
Value
note.
is different than writing the counts.
But I'm saying they're doing every single note.
Oh, that's
Here, they're
Right.
not doing every
Right.
single note. Is that going to?
Well, no. My students do. So
Well, I'm
it's just.
asking about grading, not your students.
Yeah. I don't. I make them do it.
Well,
Because
I
So
feel
as long
like
as the beats are there, they're.
I just feel
grading
that.
wise, they're okay.
I don't. That's just what we came up with. I don't.
I feel like that, of course, we want to teach them to do it specifically and to do it correctly. But as you mentioned, it's the first time
I'm
they're
thinking
having to
that
do this.
The goal of
And
this question is just to make sure that they know where the beats are and how many, like the counts, right? Where that it is 2 beats in a measure, and that you know where beat 1 is and where beat 2 is, and that you've completed the measure. So I think
that makes sense.
for level 3, that might be not a bad goal.
yeah, and I think it's better to grade easier rather than harder
Right.
when they're having to do it the first time.
And that's. I
And
think
probably
that
a lot of kids do write them in. This is probably a small
no,
percentage.
This is true. A lot of kids do, and the ones that don't, usually there's a measure. There's the the beat is wrong,
Other
like they didn't
issues.
count it correctly, and so they end up getting it wrong anyways, because they don't have enough beats in the measure. There have been times though where they could find the beats and the measure was correct, they just weren't taught how to put what
So-
symbols to put in there.
Especially
And
second
honestly, there are teachers who don't do the 1 and O or 2 and or whatever, so that's why we
Yeah.
said that.
Sometimes there's answers in the test, like a number 6, they have 4,
Oh,
4
there's
and
always.
3, 4 there.
I know.
But if they had 4, 4 and 2, 4, it helps the student, they have to know it, you know,
I
that's
always tell
correct.
them to use their test as a reference,
Right,
because they
that's-
can't hide everything.
It's a good point.
Right.
I've always tried to hide
So
everything.
the first
and I
time they're
can't.
going through it, as long as they understand this, then they can kinda help
Mhm.
to write it out.
Right.
If there's a 2, 4 in there, then you just mix it
Yeah.
up and
You got it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was.
Oh, as we turn the page, number
Oh,
8,
and this
the
is
tie.
why. This is why.
Yep.
This one is probably, besides the 16ths, because that was an issue, the dotted quarter with the 8
Oh, yeah.
note was
Mhm.
another, they didn't know how to
Mhm.
write it.
That's the most common.
Which is
So do you-
interesting that they have a dotted quarter with an 8th but no 8th rest.
right.
Oh wait, no, that's right. I'm tired. Never mind.
Well, do you make them put like 1 and then 2
That's
in
why,
the,
yes.
they
we
have to
do
put the 2
2
there.
in the
That 2
middle,
has to be there.
and it has to
Yeah.
be in the
Otherwise
middle,
the
it
and
can't
doesn't
be
make any
on
sense.
the 8th note.
Yep.
So that was one of
So
the
everybody
ways we
needs to
would grade
keep that in mind.
So the and would have to be there too.
Well, we
Right.
don't require it.
Okay, if you put
But-
1 and,
We put, the
Look
1
like
has
2
to
8
be lined up with the dotted quarter, and then the 2 has to be in between the dotted quarter and the 8th rest. They can't put it aligned with the 8th rest. You're wrong. This is just, I mean, you can always change.
Well, that leaves that 8th rest, or 8th note just sort of hanging
Well,
out there.
We're saying teach your students to put the and
So
then
you're
if they
just
don't,
talking
we're
about
just
you
gonna
want
give
the
grace.
major beats at this level, am I right?
Well, that's what we've graded for.
Okay.
I'm not the, you know.
I'm just asking how you're
Hearsay.
grading so
That's
that
how
we
we've
can
graded
teach.
it, yes, we've
So
graded
the
it
way
with
you're
the
grading
major beats. Now, my students, I don't let them do that. So that, it's up to you what you wanna do at this level.
I mean, I think you should teach them everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
just do that.
What
And-
I'm
and
saying
just
is
know
don't
that-
not teach it because
Right.
this is how we're
Yeah,
grading it.
teach it with
Like,
all the
Teach it how
extras.
you want,
And then
And
if
then-
they get a little off or mixed up, just know that there will be grace.
cause, right,
For that.
exactly. There you go. That's,
English,
yeah.
very difficult.
good idea. There we go.
All
Don't
right.
change your teaching.
Okay, we gotta keep rolling because Jonathan has the actual hard stuff. So level 4 key signatures.
Oh.
Yes.
With the key signatures, make sure that you put the sharps in the right line or space.
Yep.
We do get a lot of the
Yep.
first
Yep.
space F sharp instead of the 5th line F sharp.
Well, the first space or the first sharp or the first flat is always on the line.
Yeah, oh, there you
Always.
go. Yeah,
Always.
that's a good way.
So whenever you put it down, shoot for a line.
Mm-hmm.
Toe the line.
There,
I mean,
oh,
all
there you
line
go.
jokes.
Yes,
You
and
can't
this is
estimate.
a
It's
jump.
gotta
No, it
there.
is this line and this line.
Level 3 and level 4 is a big jump with key signatures because not only do you have F sharp major, which means you've gone through all of the sharps, but now you have relative minors as well. And so I love circle of fifths. I even have them draw.
There you
I
go.
had a bunch of lessons, and so
Mhm.
you've seen it.
It makes a big difference.
Yes.
I think it's helpful for students just to practice drawing all the sharps.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
just
all the sharps,
because
all the flats.
I remember kids will know that there are supposed to be 3, but then they don't remember which 3.
Right.
And you know, so just to
And placement.
Yeah.
And this is key signatures, so we do correct on placement. If it's
Mhm.
not correctly
Yeah.
placed, then it's wrong. Even if they have F, but it's in the wrong place.
Yep.
And they tend to not get the flat through the line or through the space.
Right.
Yeah, they have
And
to
the
be
sharp,
picky about, yeah. I mean, I know.
And I make them go back and
handwriting.
correct that, they don't like doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just say, it's
And these tabs are
detail.
bigger than they used to be, so that's
Yeah.
kinda nice.
Yes.
Because they used to be tiny and it was like, you better sharpen
Yeah.
that pencil. It's not gonna work.
As we keep going on the next page, intervals, chords, I think pretty much most people for writing chords on number 4, you just start with your triad and draw those notes first.
Yes.
And then you can use your paper keyboard and find your major chord and then adjust from there. Let's see. Oh, inversions. I like to have my students write it in root position first,
then change,
then flip it, and then they circle their answer
or erase it.
or erase the others. Sometimes I don't want them to erase
'Cause you wanna
because
see.
you want to see like if they missed something, were they totally wrong or did they just make a mistake flipping it up or and as a grader, I know when you are trying to look over and see if a kid just needs a little correction or whatever,
They
that
just
helps
don't-
you
yeah.
to know like do they really know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Well, then they automatically know the root
Yeah.
because that bottom note is right there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Let's see. Chord progressions. Do you guys have trouble with people using accidentals?
Yes, so it says keys, the key of E major, so no, well, yeah. I mean, this is one of those questions that either they know it or they don't.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of weird stuff on 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So I would say just to make sure that they understand that it's just root, but it's actually not
It's not hard.
not hard.
I think-
It's just 1 5 1. You
Right.
put the root note first, 1 5 1, and then build a snowman on it, and just put your key signature. And I mean, look, talk about using your test as a reference. You already had to like do E major there
Mhm.
and here, and so.
Well, it maybe some kids can think in terms of keys. Some. It seems like the uppercase versus lowercase, and then matching that up to 1 4. I know where 1 and 4 is. I can count that high. But then, which is it major? Is it minor? Right? That's where the uppercase and lowercase is. Then they don't even have to know the key signature,
Oh, true. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
They can use the
Yeah.
accidentals.
Yes.
So if they're struggling with key signatures, which
And just
they often
minor
are,
1, minor 4, minor
then they just
1.
have to know majors and minors.
And they have
And
to
that's level 2.
label
That should be-
1 5 1.
Yeah, they have to be able
That
to
we have to
label it.
remind them to do that.
Right.
So they have to label their chords.
V is 5. The IV is 4.
This one is one of those.
So you don't let them use key signatures on this, right? Like, is it
It
a
says
rule?
use
No,
accidental.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for some of mine, I'll have them write the key signature and like write down what those sharps are, and then go
Yeah.
check their chords
Yeah.
and see
And,
if they.
and some students work really well with key signatures, but if you got some that are struggling,
Yeah.
then just the majors and minors, as indicated on the test,
True.
are going to tell you which one to put in there.
Hmm. Knowing that they get a major 5 in the minor key,
Mhm.
that's
Yes.
having them circle that uppercase Roman numeral can be helpful. Now, for on the last page when you're writing the rhythms, now do you have them put in all the beats? No, what?
I think that I don't think we have,
Okay,
because there are a lot of kids that don't know how to write
right. Those are a
basic.
lot of complicated patterns.
So, and it just, I mean, if they have it, great, but
Okay.
I mean, we haven't. I think most students do, but there are a handful that don't. So it's not even like one.
Yeah, I can see
There
that.
are a handful that don't.
Especially when they're doing the triplets,
That's
you get
what
a
Yeah.
lot of
you want to
variations.
write for triplet.
There's no correct answer.
One and does. One
Well, I
and
mean,
does, but-
Get 3 of something in there. Blueberry, I don't care.
I mean, it just doesn't fit under a triplet.
It does not. Yeah.
So that's why, and I know teachers teach it different, and we don't have access to every teacher and say, okay, what do you want your kids to fill out? What do you want your kids to fill out? So if it's not gonna be a universal thing, then we just count the major beats.
Okay.
As long as you can have the major beats, and it's correct, like the number of beats per measure,
Mhm.
then,
And again, with the dotted quarter, they
Right.
do have to make sure they put the
oh
second
yeah,
beat
the
under
second
that
beat
one.
is definitely has to be listed, because all 4 beats
Yeah.
have to be listed. So
Mhm.
even with a whole note, if they're choosing to use it, they have to show all 4 beats.
All right. Anything else for level 4? All right. So level 5, We've talked a lot about the key signatures.
Yeah, same way, and that's the thing, once they, it's just a lot of the same
Yeah.
at this point. So
Mhm.
if they have a good grounding on it, then,
I think one of the
It
biggest
should be
problems in
getting
all of
easier.
this is you have to do so many things. There are so
Oh,
many
for sure.
directions.
Yep.
And
For
a
sure.
lot of kids do not
well, that's why
have
they're
the
lucky
ability
they have
to follow
us.
that many directions.
Oh, it's Lisa. Here, y'all keep talking. Hi.
So they're lucky they have, that we actually look at their tests, because we do try to make sure that they've done all these things. And sometimes we miss it too. I mean,
Well, that's why I
it is a
say,
lot of
write
work.
A, write B, write C, write D, then go back. Did I write?
Yeah.
Check it off.
Write
Yeah.
it
And
as a question,
Right.
not as a command.
By the gym.
I will tell them
Yeah,
how to
the
do
door on
it,
the other
and,
side is open.
and they won't do it. And I'll write it down on your sign, it, like, be sure you do this, but it's.
Cause it is a lot.
I don't know, would it help to say, check it off if you've done
Yeah,
that?
for sure.
Check it off
Yeah.
if you've done this. Have you ever used that with
Yeah.
kids?
I have, and I don't know what it is, but sometimes they
They
just
still
don't
don't.
do it.
Well, what, could you get into the testing scenario itself and
Oh, are
the
you kidding?
strategies on,
I teach
And
it
how
as
many,
fine,
how many
but
tests in school
I can
do they have
show
to
you.
do that many steps?
Right, and
welcome Lisa,
Sorry I had to be late.
are you good? Welcome. Are we on level 5?
Yeah.
Just take
Okay,
one
we're on
of
level
each,
5.
so there's primary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And then
You can
we're
just
on
start at
or
level 5.
5 is right here.
Yeah, so
Where we're at.
There you go.
And
Okay.
then 6. Here's 6.
Are you guys good? What did you talk about on level 5?
Just the number 3 having
more-
so many.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you, lots of multi-steps within one question.
9,
Oh,
10,
thank you.
11, 9,
Sorry, didn't I get it out?
10, 11.
Well,
And you might want to have students, you have them put a check.
That's what
Or,
she was
yeah,
saying.
Mhm.
so
Put a
it's,
check
yeah,
mark
just to
for
keep
the
track.
School.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. As we keep going, on number 4 with naming intervals, you guys have them count first.
Yes.
It's, yeah,
Count first, write the number first, then. the
then
quality.
figure out the quality. So that's kind of a common theme, with number 5, it's the same thing. Draw your notes first, then look at your quality. Number 6, finding the root of the triad.
So I make them put it in root position first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say with number 5, they really have to draw the notes first.
Yes.
Because we get all sorts of weird stuff when they try to do it on the keyboard and then realize that,
Right.
yeah,
You get some interesting inversions.
so, yeah.
A C
Yeah.
sharp becomes a D flat.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I know, yep.
So definitely stress to them that they need to put the notes down first
Mhm.
and then go back and look at
Build your snowman.
snowman.
Mhm.
That's what I always say. Do you wanna
I
build
know
a
it's-
snowman?
I know it's harder
That doesn't translate with Southern kids.
Yeah.
Well, I think kids like anything easy.
No, build a snowman. This is from,
Frozen.
Frozen.
It's a very popular
Popular
movie. They
song,
will
but-
all know about this.
But to actually experience snow.
Oh, right.
Oh, I've
Kids
never. Are you
actually
kidding?
experienced snow this Christmas.
Yeah.
They were so excited, I thought, you have no
I
idea.
Didn't until I
What
was a
it's like
senior
to
in high
live in
school.
it.
Yes.
Definitely didn't live
Anything else on that page?
Well, this is the first time they get into figure base, right?
Yes. That's
Yay.
another, so I guess, also, I think with Student Day, knowing what is new.
Well, they did it.
What
last
the
level.
new skill is. I don't think they had to write the figure base. No.
Well,
They call it first inversion, root, second inversion.
No, I mean the 151.
Well,
But
right.
they have to do.
But not,
No,
but
figure-
not the
Oh, I'm
number,
sorry.
Figure
I'm
base.
sorry. I'm just
So
not.
they have, they do
I'm
give an
looking at
example
numbers,
of
yeah.
F6, that's kind of nice, because now they know that one of the numbers is 6. Sometimes they just memorize 6 and 6-4, which is okay if they remember it, but understanding why it's 6 and 6-4 might be helpful. I don't know.
Well, in this particular, the way that they teach it, the 6 and the 6-4 is above
Yeah.
the note.
Yeah. Yeah,
It is
so,
not spread out, right? You don't have to worry necessarily about where the base position is.
no.
Here it's
easy.
chord.
It is,
It's
yeah.
much more straightforward.
But there's not a
But-
blank to write stuff either. You see that?
Well, on the
I
test there.
think on the test there is,
Okay.
yeah. So, and that the chord name is, you have to put the root. We've had R or 6, I'm like, no, you
And-
actually have to.
They always do, yeah.
Root 6.
Yeah,
Just
try
put
it.
an uppercase letter and a lowercase. Do you have problems
For
with
major and
they'll
minor.
make their
Oh.
lowercase letter just as big as the uppercase letter,
Yes.
letter, and I'll tell them, make it half the size.
Yeah,
I tell my students if I have to guess, it's wrong.
there you go.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
good.
Too
Yeah.
old. Forget it.
Yep.
So, yeah. And some will, do the MAJ, MIN.
You have an interesting way of coming up with the 6 and 6-4.
Well, that's not really what I do usually. It's just an alternate idea.
Okay.
I mean, it's,
Where'd you?
well, just if you flip it up one time, you have one number. If you flip it up twice, you have two numbers.
Actually, I like that.
So,
That's actually good.
I mean, and
That's what I was
it's,
like, I've never thought of that. So I was like, that's cool.
That's
yeah,
great.
so it goes hand in hand with the 6th and the 4th. And I for some of my kids, I mean, every kid is different.
Yes.
I like to throw a
sticks?
lot different, a lot of
Yeah,
different things
so
at them
what
and
sticks?
see what sticks for different kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some kids are very music and math minded, and then other kids, like, you need the tricks.
Yeah.
And so,
I like that.
so anyway. Okay, are we continuing on?
Yeah, 7 was the same as, except now you're using
You know, 6,
key
8.
signature or accidentals, but very similar.
Yeah.
Here, number 8, again.
I like to
Same
just
thing.
have them circle their groups of 3.
Yeah.
That's good.
And you know it's going to be a multiple of 3.
Yeah.
And some students don't realize they can look at the easiest measure.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
They'll
yes.
struggle with the hardest one, and it's like, you could just look over here, and there's a dotted half note and a dotted quarter note. And what do you think?
It's
You
all
know,
the same.
so-
Many times if
Yes,
you look at the
that's true.
last measure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, with compound meter especially, you get kids that, like they'll write out the ands,
Mm-hmm.
and the ands don't help you in compound meter.
All right.
Now the eights give you one note. All your life, we told you that the quarter note gets one count. Well, guess what,
Just
buddy?
kidding.
Just kidding. Sorry.
Let me see. Okay.
Knowing that level 5 does focus on, 6, 8, 9, 8 or whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
See a
find
lot
that
of
the
compound
kids in
meetings.
6, 8 and 9, 8 and that, they'll create rhythms that just don't really exist.
Now, and that's
Really
something to keep in mind. For grading purposes, it has to be beamed appropriately
Yes, groups.
for
from
6, 8 or 9, 8. You can't just put random stuff and it adds up to the right number. Like, it actually has to be beamed appropriately.
It could be a 3-4.
Grouping.
Right.
Grouping of threes.
Yeah.
So even like a quarter with an eighth, and then the next note, if it was an eighth, it would not
It
be
can't
beamed
connect.
together,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Anything else for level 5?
I tell them not to be, not to try to make the most complicated.
Yes, they do that.
They're going to get this information. It's like English, like the English language. You constantly are reviewing, that year after year after year in school, your grammar. This continues to build.
Right.
So get the general concept and keep moving on to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, my kids, by the time they get to 5 and 6, it suddenly occurred to them, this stuff isn't all new.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
We're just
yes.
adding a little bit
Adding,
extra
yeah.
each year.
And I think that's what's important with
Yeah.
student day is that you're not reteaching. Like if you teach it
If you teach it well,
then you just have to know what the new concepts are for that level, and then it's not quite as overwhelming. I mean,
I don't understand why this didn't sink in early on.
Well,
the
and
kids are.
I think a lot of it too is transfer students who maybe haven't come
Yes.
up through the lower levels,
Yes,
and then they
that's
get
harder.
here and they're playing at a level 6,
But their theory.
but then
is-
they don't have the background in this specific theory, and that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big challenge.
It's hard
for those
to place
kids.
students to figure out the transfer student where to put them
Mhm.
at times.
Mm.
For sure.
And that's something to keep in mind for the event. If you're below, 6 and below, if you enter, you have to attempt like your written theory and your oral theory. Once you're level 7 and up, you can do performance only or theory only. But for if you have shown mastery through level 6, that's what you're supposed to do.
Question,
Yes.
transfer students,
Mm-hmm.
they play at one level, theory is at a lower level.
Mm-hmm.
Can you enter them in 2 different levels?
No.
If they play
No.
in 6 after theory 6?
Right.
Well, that's what I thought.
But they could play in 5,
Right.
and you could do as much as you can and just say there are some things that you may not know and you may not get, and that's okay.
Yeah.
On your things like keyboard skills, we can cross them off, and they're not even asked those things. On written and oral theory tests, we have not crossed things off. I think just from a paperwork standpoint, trying to keep track of if students don't want to do everything. But it's okay to tell your student, like, you may not know this, but take your best shot, and maybe you'll get some points.
So
And
is
we'll
this
just
why you should enter students as a progressive?
That's progress.
Yes.
progress.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Well, and for theory tests, you never know what's gonna happen
Yeah.
because you only have to have a 70
Yeah.
to get achievement.
Right.
So I've told kids just do your best, and
We'll see what happens.
if you don't pass, that's fine. You'll get progress. That's fine.
And they can still enter the next level next year.
Right.
because your
It
discretion.
doesn't have to hold them back.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
and you
And
want,
it can give them a start, because
Right.
kids are gonna or study more when they're gonna have to actually do it.
well,
Well, all this does is just show you what you know and what you don't.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you have a transfer student, it's usually advantageous to enter them in a lower level just so they have a good experience for that first student day.
Yeah.
You don't want them to have to dread student day because they were maxing out their capabilities the first time around while trying to learn all of this, new stuff and then do it all in one day.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because all of us, I think, are getting students that have had
No
no
theory.
theory.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the idea that you should not start this the month before.
Oh,
Like,
Excuse me?
No.
if you have a transfer student that you suspect will do student day, you want to get started on that as soon as possible, especially if they're going to be a higher level. You
yeah,
can't
for
wait.
sure.
Or any level.
Yeah.
I give my students a sample test
Yeah, I do too.
at the very
So that they're
beginning,
used to.
even the ones that have been 3 or 4 years or
Mhm.
whatever, because then we focus on what they don't know,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and not on what
Yeah.
they do know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the practice tests are great.
All right, let's continue on. Level 6, key signatures. We've talked a lot about that. Chromatic scales. I think everybody remembers sharps going up, flats going down. I don't think that's really that much of a problem.
Yeah, 5 and 6, they gotta draw the note first.
Yeah. Do most kids get that?
Well, yeah.
I feel like most kids get that. If they haven't learned to draw the note first by this point,
Yeah.
they're in a whole lot of trouble
Yeah,
on
5
other
and
stuff
6,
too.
They're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these questions have already been asked in other levels, just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
concepts.
So,
And 7, we really don't have too much trouble with.
mm-hmm.
Okay, now number 9,
At
it's
There
again,
There are
it's
too many
like
directions on
20
that one.
directions there, yeah. So that one,
You know what I think is bad when I look at the directions, okay? I'm looking at this, A through F. Draw the root of each chord in the bass is on E. I feel like Are we on number 9?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Letter E, draw the root
letter
of each
E.
chord in the bass.
Yes.
I feel like if they would start with that
Yeah.
Yeah.
and be
I
like,
agree.
my 1 chord is an E chord,
Mhm.
my 4 chord is an A chord, my 5 chord is a B chord.
Yeah.
Why
I think
shouldn't
that would
be on
simple.
B?
Right.
Yeah,
I feel like that
I
should
agree
be
with
up
that.
higher because that helps them realize what they're doing.
I think what B is that's actually, that should have just been on the stack below in the key of E flat major, right? The chord progression, blah, 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 and then put A, put the, how to do it, I guess, what they were looking for.
Is it almost backwards?
Yeah.
Did you go from F to E to D?
And then it says
You're
beacon.
backward.
F is, yeah, look at that.
If I were doing that, that's not the order I would do that.
Yeah,
No, but-
that's.
So I think kids just have to do it enough to know what
Yeah.
to do.
Right.
Like, you-
Well, if you're at this level,
Yeah,
you ought to
this
know
is
there
level
are
6.
there are squirrels in these days.
Yeah.
That's a squirrel, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yes.
So anyway, they just have to know how to do it.
Correct time signature, that's usually fine.
Go to the last
Do you
one.
guys, one more
Wow.
question about number 9. One more question about
Go
number
ahead.
9. As graders, when you guys are in the room, do you find that students actually know what notes are supposed to be in those chords, or are they just trying to follow some kind of pattern, and then when you try to help them, they don't actually know what they're trying to do?
I think these are one of the questions where it's either they know it or they don't.
Yeah.
There's no helping on
Right.
this kind of
Yeah.
question. There are some students that understand and can do it, no problem. There are some students that don't understand that what a 1 chord is or a 4, and then you're just,
They're just-
yeah, this is one of those that it's hard to help. because-
Yes.
So they didn't know what was in the previous
Right,
levels.
exactly.
The
Mhm.
staff needs to be bigger, that's
I would
funny,
agree
right?
with that, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's also missing a line.
It's missing a line. So
But not
keep that in
usually on the
mind.
tests.
These are just the samples.
So yeah, this is a sample.
what I remember, it was when I was coming back from COVID a long time ago, and Wenjo, I think, was the one doing this. And I kept trying to look at his paper and grade it, and I was like, I just don't understand.
Something's
Wait a
wrong.
minute, is this brain fog? I don't know. Like, what am I not getting? It was missing a line, and I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
that
Need
explains it.
another line in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 9 is definitely, they need to practice that
Mhm.
because there's really just no
Yeah.
revising on that part.
Yep.
And then 11, I mean.
They just need to keep it simple.
Right, just.
It's
keep
only
it
hard
simple.
if you make it complicated.
Every measure has to be different, but you can just move the rest.
We have to
Right.
save them from
Different
themselves.
order.
Exactly,
And a lot of students do keep it very simple.
which is fine.
And I think that's great.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Now, do you want it in like 3 beats and 4?
No,
4
it
beats
doesn't
and
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
7,
One beat,
4, go
one beat
for
and
it.
6. I don't care.
Knock yourself
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Literally does not matter.
All right. Anything else on those lower levels?
No.
All right.
All right.
Swap.
So I'm going to start with level 7. Couple of overall things. A lot of your upper level students end up being transfer students. You find that to be the case, like they, and so transfer students don't necessarily understand upper level written theory, and sometimes they don't even understand lower level written theory. They come with lots of gaps. So I will often give transfer students the sample tests from lower level just to see what they know. And so that way they can start filling in some of those gaps. A lot of the concepts that we are talking about are already in their repertoire, especially if they're already performing upper level material. So as much as you can draw, hey, remember this key signature over here? You're playing it right here, right? You have to watch out for the G sharps and the D sharps and all this. So help them take this theory to that next level. Okay, level 7. Make sure students writing accidentals for melodic minor up and down. It's the only scale where it's a split scale. It's different going up. So like for F sharp minor over here, you gotta have the D sharp and the E sharp. And then on the way down, it has to be E natural and D natural. Has to be. Okay, usually I just have them practice writing the last 4 notes up and back down for each key.
I teach them it's a half and half. going up it's melodic, going down it's natural.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way.
Really.
Either way, but they have to have accidentals on one side of the
Yes, it
peak
will be
and on the other side. Yep, it's a different mountain going on down the other side, if you want to think of it that way. Go ahead and flip the page. Sevenths inversions can be written, okay, we're using the figured base, right? And you have to write in the figured base for each one. I like to teach it just basically counting down from 7. So it's going to end up looking like 7, and then you put the 6, 5 underneath that.
Oh my goodness.
4, 3, and then you can leave a little space for the 2, and then the 4 kind of tucks in underneath that. So that's for the 7th chord. So
The numbers just
7,
get smaller.
6, 5, 4, 3, and then the only exception is that little 4 you got to sneak in before the 4, 2.
Run
kids-
it by again, I've never heard
I
of it.
see.
Okay,
I
all
don't
right, all right.
either.
7,
Oh my goodness.
They just get smaller.
6, 5, 4, 3. Leave a little space for the 2, because the 4 has to sneak in there.
My kids
That's all
always
it
want
is.
to reduce the fraction on 4-2 and say
Okay,
it's
so let me
2.
double check that I've done this right.
Yeah, so it's 7. You're just writing 7.
This is numbers
Just count
coming
down
down.
from
That's it.
7.
Oh
7,
my goodness.
6, 5, 4, 3, and then just leave a little space between the last for the last 2, and it's 4, 2. That's
And
all
that's
it
just
is.
the intervals,
It
of
does.
course,
Okay.
but it's an easy pattern.
So then, let's say E is your root. You're gonna write out your dominant 7th chord. Hopefully they remember their dominant 7th chord when they had to play it, right? So then you've got E, G sharp, B, and D. Well, then you write underneath each one of those 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. And that's going to be on the bottom of each one of those inversions. So you write each inversion underneath that particular one. And it's just taking that same sequence you had over here and converting it to where it is on the staff.
That's interesting. I don't have my students write that sideways. That's the first time I've
Yeah,
heard
I
of that.
haven't.
But we just always flip up, flip.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so you're going to end up,
Yeah,
with your E on the bottom, there's your 7th, with your G sharp, you're just flipping it
I
back
like
up,
that,
putting
though.
the
That's-
T.
Yeah.
Either way,
That's a good
it's a way to
example.
check it
Mhm.
as well.
Checks
Um,
are always good.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
So whether you're doing the flipping like we did over here, unfortunately that number of flips and the number of, that doesn't work
Well,
for
I-
7th chords, so.
Well, I think
So that's why this is handy.
Yeah, I think one thing students struggle with sometimes on that is when they're flipping up and then they get too high and they have to come down.
That's
Which is-
what I was
Yep.
And then
gonna
it's
say,
like
yes.
sometimes they need to write in those notes and make sure that they do it correctly when they're
Either
jumping down
start
an
lower
octave.
or
Yeah,
move it down because they'll be
Right.
sky high.
Right.
When I get up to the top here and I put my B in, everything after that is ledger lines.
lines.
I don't like ledger
Right.
lines. But if I know I'm going for my 4-3 chord, well, I know that B's got to be on the bottom. So hello B, right? Just take that down an octave, and then I can move up from there. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
but
so
we
that
do
might be
have
helpful
that.
for your 7th chord inversions on number 6 there. This level, 7 and 8, here we go. This is the first time students have to write the first right-hand cadence chord in a non-root position. So you see where it says place the root of the first chord in the soprano voice.
Yes.
You see that? What inversion is that?
First.
It's first inversion. That's all it is. Yes. Just put your chord in first inversion. They look at that and they're like, what in the world? Like trying to do geometry over here.
Oh my.
It's just a first inversion. That's all it means. Root of the chord in the soprano voice is first inversion. Okay? As you're writing through this, once they put that in first inversion, let's see, I'm in A here. If I'm writing through that, your 4 chord is the bottom 2 notes up from your first chord to your 4 chord. So leave the top note alone. The bottom 2 notes go up. From there, you take the top 2 notes and they go down. Leave the bottom note. Okay, that gives you your 5-7. And then of course your 1 chord is exactly the same as what you wrote at the beginning.
one thing, which that's a good way to think of it, and
Yeah.
I don't remember if I've done just that specific pattern. I think I have. But one thing about this test that's weird is I find that when students play it, we play an extra 1 chord.
Yeah,
Mhm.
one,
There it is.
1, 4,
5,
1, 5,
Yes.
7, 1. And then when students try to go from 4 to 5, 7
It's weird.
without the 1, that's what throws
Yeah.
my kids off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
this is a pattern. Okay, you're gonna take the bottom 2 up, then the top 2 down, go back to the beginning.
But 4 goes up and 5 goes down.
Right.
If you do your pattern, 1, 4, 5, 1, 4 goes up.
It
5
does.
goes
Right,
Yeah, that's
so it
true.
kind of follows some of the patterns
Yeah.
that they've been playing anyway within the chord progression.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Mhm.
It's just for this level, and it's the same every time. Whether it's major, whether it's minor, that happens for all of them. If they've written in the key signature, and they have to, right, then they're good to go. They don't have to remember particular
Yes.
intervals, with the
Except-
exception of 5/7 in minor. They have to add that interval. But if they know that they're looking for a half step down from the 4 to the 5 on that top note, then, you know, we've got a T-do going on here. Then they know at least to look for that. Okay, so 5/7 is the only time they have to include an accidental there, if it's in a minor key. Syncopation. Yay! Okay, really easy way to get students to write syncopation. By now they should know their ands, where their ands are. So what I have them do is just to write out 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Pick one of the and, not the last one, either the and of 1, 2, or 3, and put a quarter note on that. That is a syncopated beat.
Or start with a short note and a long note.
Start with a short note and then go to a long note. But pick an and stick a quarter note on it. Put the rest of your stuff around that. You're gonna stick in some eighth notes, you're gonna put in some eighth rest, that sort of thing. And I'll have them, hey, you put a quarter note on the first and for the first measure, let's put a quarter note on the and of 2 in the second measure. Every measure has to have syncopation. So every measure is gonna have something on one of those first 3 ands. That's how I have them do the syncopation part. Level 8. Flip over to the second page. If students have difficulties with intervals that are note preceded by an accidental, like the G flat and D flat, and it was like, oh boy, I gotta think in terms of the key of G flat major. Have them take it out. Just move this whole thing flat, move it up a half step. Right? Take out the flat. They can even just cover it up with their finger. Oh, now it's G to D. As they're trying to figure out the interval. Like, what is this interval? Because they have to name it. It's the same interval. Whether they've got 2 flats, 2 sharps, 2 sharps, 2 sharps, take them out. It's a whole lot easier to identify that based on the bottom note. Like if I'm looking at G sharp and B sharp, I'm like, I'm glad to look at G and B.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they only have one interval, then they know they have to raise both notes.
Accident.
Right. So this would, instead of this being B and F sharp, this would be C and G. The interval is the same. Okay? When they go to do the enharmonic, if they have flats, have them write down, move the step down, and then put in sharps as needed. If it's a flat, they have to move the notes down and then put in sharps as needed. If there's sharps in there, they have to move the notes up and then put in flats as needed. If it's something like your third one here that has sharps, once you move that down, hold on, sharp, go up. Sharp, once you move it up, you're already on the F. And then you just have to remember to put in the B flat, like on that third one. So the E sharp and
Sorry,
the
which
A
number
sharp.
are you on?
I'm on number 6.
Oh, you're
Looking at the
still
E
on
sharp
6.
and the
I
A
thought
sharp.
you
Yep,
moved
nope,
on to
no,
7.
I'm still on 6. 6 is tricky.
So it would be
So then you move it up from F and A, F and B, and then, oh, okay, well, I've already got the F. I don't need a flat for that. You see what I mean? So not everything
I
that
just
you
have
I just
move.
have them look
yeah,
at it.
yeah.
You have them look at
I
it?
just
Okay.
tell them, yeah.
Just
name
play
it and then change
and
it.
Find another way to
see,
level
like,
it.
If
That's
you're
fine.
going up or down, like know if you're going up or down
Mhm.
generally, and then just the other.
Yeah, that one I don't.
But it has to be a different note.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely has to be a different note. So if you've got spaces, a space and a line, it's going to end up being a line and a space. Like it's going to be the opposite of what that previous note was.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't think we have too many problems in that.
Okay. Good.
Because by level 8,
Yeah. Level 8's assuming quite a bit.
yeah, and that's an easier question, I think. It's the right.
dominant seventh chords, getting to diminished seventh chord. These say diminished seventh chord, they mean fully diminished
I know,
seventh chord.
that drives me nuts.
Yes,
Why don't we
it should
use
be
the
fully
and half
diminished seventh chord. It's actually really easy to get from a dominant seventh to a fully diminished. You just take those top three notes and move them all down a half step. Your root stays the same, obviously. Sweet. For 9 and 10, we're back over to root position. So the fifth of the first chord is now in the soprano voice. So now it's in root position for level 8. Why? No idea. Keep you guessing. Right? What are you going to find in the real world? Who knows? 11 and 12. Let's see here. Definitely writing out the basic counting. The 4, 4, and 3, 4, that's 4, 4 first, and then 3, 4, and then 4, 4, and then 3, 4. Have them write, even though it did not require to write out the counting, just write out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 with the alternations. Because students will get it, they'll see a 4, 4, and then they'll write everything in 4, 4 and forget there's a 3
Do you
there.
have kids miss those?
No?
not-
Okay.
Okay.
These aren't, I would say probably the part writing, the cadence. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a new concept,
Again, a
for
lot of
this
directions.
one, and a lot of directions,
Yeah.
It's the part writing that's usually the kicker.
But hopefully, again, if they have practiced this,
Yes.
they shouldn't
That's
even
why
have to
They
really
need to do a practice test for sure.
do a lot of, like, if that's the way you focus on writing it every time and, you know.
And it's very much built
Yeah.
on what we've done in level.
And I think, because a
6
lot
and
of
7.
teachers will use other theory books, which is fine for key signatures, fine for dominant sevens, for writing those.
This is very specific.
This is very
But
specific,
for
yeah.
the cadences, that's where it is very specific, and that's where we'll lose some people, like testing wise.
Well, a lot of your cadences, and this is the case, this is what they're playing in the keyboard skills.
Right, right.
So if they go to the keyboard, it's gonna be right there. So if you've been working on keyboard skills, and I work on keyboard skills all year long.
Now, but you're assuming these are all piano students, because everybody takes these tests. So we do have
okay.
we have a lot of other, because that's what we see in the
You know,
theory
they're actually
room.
talking about
We
making
do
different
have,
tests.
they
Oh,
should.
really?
They
For,
should.
Well, I have mixed feelings about that because on one hand,
No, I understand.
I feel like when you go to college, like theory is theory.
But they make them take 2 years of piano too, when you're in college.
Well, yeah, but you start with, I mean, a lot of times they don't do that in the very beginning. Like everybody starts with theory
Right.
in the beginning.
mhm.
And I feel like whatever they give them will be easier and that our kids will have it harder. All right. So I don't know. I would hope that if they make different theory tests, they have extra things that aren't piano related
In the-
that keep
Oh, I
it
see what you're
challenging
saying,
and
yeah.
have the same requirement of rigor.
Mhm.
That's all. I would want to make sure that the difficulty levels matched up.
Piano is a visual thing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Very
And
much
And I
those-
think that's why a lot of the other kids that don't have this visual cue.
Well, strings can have it too. I
Yeah,
think where we get
but
lost
it's
is
so
like
prominent
rhythms
on a
and-
keyboard.
Yeah.
String your,
It's half steps.
Yeah. It's a little harder to
I
see
mean,
that note.
that's just,
Right. In level 9, number 2, to find the key signatures, start with the bottom note of the last chord, and then just start writing out all of the notes that are in that particular example. That's usually been obviously expect minor keys, but if you write out the notes in scalar form, it should give you the basis for that particular. Obviously at this point they should know, they just did melodic, natural, and then a couple of modes, but they should be expecting, if they're in a minor key, different types of minors. Okay? For number 3, any interval and its inversion always adds up to 9. So your 6
Yes.
is going to invert to 3, 7 to 2, so on. Major inverts to minor, vice versa, and then perfect always inverts to perfect. In 7, if you want to find the crunch, that's usually how I have students identify a root in a 7th chord,
I never heard it referred to as
That's
right? The crunch, Where the
He's
two notes are right
second.
next to each other. The
the
seconds,
note.
where there's two notes apart.
Oh.
Big giveaway.
The higher level, the higher of those two chords is going to be the root every time. So I've usually students, oh yeah, there's my crunch.
Now I'm gonna use
I
that.
know,
No, it's a crunch.
It's a crunch.
It's the crunch, where they're right next to each other. There you go. Yep.
Okay.
Quality of the triad is first. These are using your so they have to figure out quality as well. After you write them all out in snowman form. So for example, this first one, E, G, B, and then C. Well, you know where the crunch is. There's C. So then you write it out in snowman form. The first three notes, the triad, gives you whether it's major or minor. Right? You should know your majors and minors at this point. It is a possibility to have it diminished as well. It's a little rare in this
I have a
particular level.
question.
Go for
This
it.
is just like how people think about things. So when you have your kids write it out, do you have them write the letters off to the
No.
side like you did, or do you have them write it on the staff?
I have them write it off to the side
I
because
do the staff.
I do the
because that way they know where the root is.
Well, but I have them write it in root position on the staff, like they know that we'd start.
Oh, you put like a C down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay,
I
really?
use
I
the
make them
rest
write
of the
it all,
measure
yeah.
and write it on
Okay.
the staff. That's interesting because just kids think different
Different.
ways, and
Yeah, you're thinking vertically anyway.
yeah, interesting. Okay.
So the C, E, G, you're gonna be major, and then in terms of the quality of the seventh, which is what most people, or some students have issues with. If you put the B and the C together, take the root and the seventh, you stick it together. If it's one half step, it's a major seventh. If there's two half steps, minor seventh. 3 half steps, diminished seventh. So
I feel
have
like
them.
all the kids know this from intervals.
They know
like
that
they've
from
done
intervals?
intervals
Okay.
going up.
Especially it's basically doing the same thing, like the octave, and then you're going back down, the major seventh, minor seventh. Yeah. I just find visually
never
some
done
students
that.
prefer it a little closer together.
Cool.
There's a gazillion different ways of looking at this stuff. Number 6.
We do have like that is a lot of time. Oh, number 5. A lot of
Number
times
5?
number 5.
Number
they
5 is
don't-
a problem.
Well, it can.
Moving, it's just moving the
No, I know. So
thumb into the
I think
pen.
this is a new concept that, like, if you haven't gone over with it, it's one of those that
They won't know what to
they
do.
won't know, and there's no helping.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So this
All
is
you're doing is
definitely
taking the
a
bottom note and
concept that
sticking
if
it
you
in.
haven't talked about and they haven't been in choir, they
Mm,
know nothing about.
Yeah.
And we get some interesting stuff.
And you just have all the tenor notes go up and all the alto notes
And the
go down.
stems have to go up for tenor, and the alto stems have to go down
Yep.
for alto. Because we've had that too, where they've put it like in chords on the top with
Right.
both stems the same way,
Yeah,
and they can't do that. So
Yeah.
just reinforcing, what 4-part harmony looks like. with choir.
So on number 6, place the third of the first chord in the soprano voice. Guess what that is?
Oh, third. No, second.
Third. That's second inversion, people. So they just keep flipping, right? As far as starting out with these cadence
We're
chords.
doing the same thing over and over and over and over.
Right, it's the same progressions. This time they have to label cadences. In rhythm, the 6/8 duplets must have a 2
Two.
above or
Yes.
below the duplets. They're used to
Otherwise
writing
it's
3s,
wrong.
now they do a 2. It's not a duplet if it doesn't have a 2.
Yeah.
It's gotta have a 2 on it. Level 10! Oh, sorry. Alright, guys. Let's get some of the easier stuff out of the way. In modulation, the first key is always based off the key signature. So they can grab that from your first key.
Do they ever start in minor?
They do.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's in minor, you do have to accommodate that, but your first key is always going to be based off it. You only got 2 options for that first key. And most of them, just by looking at the collection of notes, can kind of figure out whether it's major or minor. The vast majority of the time, it's major. When they're circling accidentals, if they're going to a minor key, not every accidental is circled. They're only supposed to indicate the accidentals in which the piece is modulating. So if they're starting in a minor key,
It wouldn't count like raised.
right, it's that raised 7th that's part of the key. So only in minors, when it starts with minors.
But it doesn't
Yeah,
usually.
it doesn't pop up very often, but just every once in a while. On the next page, for half diminished seventh chords. The half that's diminished is what? Is it the seventh or the triad?
You're asking what's diminished?
Yes, what's diminished? It's the triad. Yes, it's the triad, not the seventh that is diminished. Okay, so your seventh is going to be minor. That's for the half diminished there. For number 5, all right, here we go. I find, okay, this progression right here, go to keyboard skills 7. We're in level 10, right? Go to keyboard skills level 7. And what do you find? You find 1, 6, 4, 2. There is a 1, 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. So they just, it's right there. Keyboard skills level 7. That chord progression is exactly what they're writing for level 10 here. All right. I recommend having them rewrite this in multiple keys, get rid of the 6/4, and then take that tenor that they should know how to do from your bottom note. Just have them rewrite it, kind of like what they did in level 9, using this. As they write it, as they practice, then you can show them these part writing rules, and I recommend doing it in this order. Number 1, if you have a common tone, keep it. You guys are familiar, like, from Consider Yourself? Consider Yourself.
I thought it was so funny that you pulled that out because I haven't heard that in forever.
You haven't heard that forever?
No,
Come
I don't
on.
think kids are gonna know that.
Yeah.
But it's catchy.
If you have a common tone, keep it. And you're gonna see all these common tones held over from previous chords, right? As they move from one chord to the other. Or where there's a C and an E, right? That's kept. And then they only move. So they're not really applying the rules, they're more like just observing the rules at this point as they work on number 5, number 6, number 5, rather particularly, okay? What do you double in a root position chord? The root. Some students will say the bass, which is fine as long as they understand that the root is the bass in a root position chord. I do like going with the root. But do you guys know the what would you do with a Klondike bar? What do you do? What do you double in a root position chord?
You work harder than me.
Oh, come on, guys!
I don't put this
We
in
did
there.
music! What do you double in a root position chord? It's the root. Yeah.
What are you singing? I'm not.
It's the
The
tune of it.
Klondike
What
It was
would
from
you-
a Klondike
What
bar.
would you do for a Klondike bar?
Yeah, but what's
It's
the
from a commercial.
relative?
It's a jinx.
It's just
It's
a way to help them remember.
remember.
It's just a mnemonic device. You're good.
It's
It's
Something
fine.
else you have to
At the
remember.
end of it, it's supposed to be an octave. The end of that little tune is an
Yeah.
octave.
Yeah, come on. All right. You guys need to watch more
Different
commercials.
concepts.
All right. The other element, all right, is a leading tone, right? What do you do with a leading tone, especially if it's in a tenor or a bass or a soprano? Okay, and that's you do get that a few times, especially in the 5/7. All right, knowing how to resolve your 5/7 chord to your 1. The LT must go UP. The LT must go UP. The LT
Wow, I
must
was
go
just thinking of a
UP.
little.
Especially in the SB soprano bass. Especially in the SB. I add that little one because if it's in soprano or bass, it definitely needs to go. All right, so Adam's Family, you know that one, Jane. Come on.
I'm not getting.
You're not getting any of
The
it?
concepts that you're mixing
You-
together, that's
I-
So-
I know.
confusing.
I
Okay,
do.
all right, that's fine. It's just these are things they're going to observe, and then they're going to have to apply in number 6 on this next section. So that's why I'm covering these. All right, so they're observing. Oh, my B goes up to the C, right, in the next to last chord, right, in my keyboard theory. Right.
See, you're a creative person. I'm a math person. I'm like,
That's all right. Hey, it takes
Follow the
all.
formula.
It takes all. It takes all. Honestly. All right. Space. These are all, by the way, culled from that master list at the end of 10, 11, and 12 about part writing rules. Yes. All right. So these are kind of condensing those elements into what are the things that
Part
are.
writing. There's
Yeah.
Now, where is that actually?
She
Is
has
that at
one.
the end of levels 10, 11, and 12
Yes.
on the
That's
website?
put on the end
Okay.
of level 10, 11, and 12.
It's
on
a
the
whole
website.
part writing guide.
Yes, it's a huge part writing guideline, and I'm condensing that. There's basically only 4 rules that they need to know to get from 5 to 6. Because 6, they will have to work with this stuff on their own. Okay? So 5, they can pull from their level 7. All right, the last one. All right, so number 1, if you have a common tone, keep
This is the
it.
first year I'm getting to this level with my students in Florida.
What do you double in
that'll
root position
be
chord?
on the website.
LT goes
So-
UP.
That's part of the packet.
The last one, and this is where a lot of students get mixed up, spacing errors. An octave is the limit between upper adjacent voices. You cannot have more than an octave between soprano and alto, or between alto and tenor. And alto and tenor is the big culprit.
Yes.
Big culprit, because it jumps
Because
between
they'll
staffs.
wanna
Yep,
do the 2 bass.
yep,
2
and then there's
bass,
like
2 tops.
octave and a half between it. Yeah.
Actually, I think
So
it's next.
usually that's solved by pushing the tenor higher.
Yeah,
Do we
thinking
care
of it
about
as a
any
group
between the tenor and the
3
bass?
and the bass part.
We don't care how far apart they are. You can put them in the basement if you wanted to. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
No.
So push that
Why are
tenor.
they so far apart?
So you
No,
said.
no.
So he's saying that, like, from tenor to bass, you can be as far apart as you want, but from soprano to alto cannot be more than an octave,
Correct.
and alto to
Yep.
tenor can be.
Correct.
That's the spacing error that they run into.
Oh,
You see this a lot,
gotcha.
especially between alto and tenor, because of the jump between the staffs.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're grading, I know this kind of stuff is important when it's coming down to like who are the top people and those type
Mhm.
theory scores. But do you take off, like, if there's a spacing error, is that like -1?
I don't
like, they're
remember
not
exactly
actually
how we
missing
did it.
chords.
I don't think we take off.
Right.
Necessarily.
I think there's a lot we notate, but we don't
Right.
actually
We don't
just
actually
subtract
take
from.
off.
Because that's something we used to talk about, yeah, with Marine. We would make a
Yes,
lot of
we
notes
would
about
make
what
notes
you did
about it,
wrong, but she didn't.
Because the
take
points
off.
don't say
Right.
those kind of rules, I think.
Right.
And so it's just if you have the chord, and technically they have the chord, but
Do you have to grade according to the answer sheet?
the answer sheet
lot
doesn't
of these
put
are
any-
blank.
It doesn't
it's
actually,
totally
that's not
blank.
part of the rubric.
Yeah, it's blank.
It'll
They're
say
blank.
like up to the
That's what
student's
at this
discretion.
level,
Yeah, it leaves it blank.
There's a lot of grading.
There's a lot of possibilities. You have what? Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, you'll be
No,
there,
no,
good,
no,
so
no.
you can grade
My
them.
graduation a week before, I think.
Okay,
Or
good,
2.
so you can grade.
Here's what I recommend. All right, so you see the one thing that I spelled out for you, all right, on this level 10, okay? This is the progression that's ending in the deceptive cadence. Okay, they have to write this. It's on your sheet. It's on your sheet.
So did you get this one?
Did you get
'Cause I
the
didn't
upper level
get it.
written theory? There you go. Yeah, grab your upper
That's
level
what
written
I'm
theory.
looking
You
for.
got it. You got it.
I
Okay,
just lost
sweet. Got it. I recommend
Yeah, I'm with you.
them memorizing
So here.
this root position sequence. The 1, 6, 2, 5, 6. So that gets them to, and basically being able to write this in any key. Because that will solve number 6 for you.
Yeah.
Rather than having come up with chords on their own, sequences that don't make sense. Like this is a legit harmonic sequence. It follows a lot of other rules that we don't have time to cover right now. But the 1, 6, 2, 5, 6. That's what I do. I just basically they
For
take
number
this.
6, is that what
Yep.
you're talking-
Yep,
okay.
for number 6. Right, use that sequence right there.
1, 6,
Yeah.
2, 5, 6.
If you notice at the end, in that final sequence, what's doubled in this root position chord?
Yeah, the third.
Yeah. Why?
Wow, it's a consequence of the leading tone goes up.
The LT must go UP. The LT must go UP. I'm telling you guys, it works. That's it. They govern deceptive cadences. And that's in that list of long rules as well. To double the third in a deceptive cadence. And you're cool beans if you can do that.
Did you just call it a deductive cadence?
Deceptive.
Deceptive.
Third.
Deceptive
My
cadence.
ears were deceptive. I thought I heard deductive.
There we go. In the next section, that's huge, right? Those 2 sections, they're pretty massive. For the next section, number 7, all you're asking is passing tones. Passing tones move stepwise between chords. The notes before and after a passing tone will be a third apart in these examples. So if they're looking at, for example, the soprano between the second and third chords in that first measure, if you look at the soprano line, there's an E flat and there's a C. The D is passing between them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your E flat and your C, they're a third apart. Whoa. Hey,
Make-
C and then back up to E flat, right? There it is.
Make sure they take their time to look.
Yeah, I think that's what
We
typically
do get a
happens
lot of
in
this
there.
one, but it's silly mistakes on this one. They just missed it.
Okay.
Aren't passing tones always scale wise?
Yes. But what, I think what it is, it's a little bit of a visual deception.
They are-
Just to circle a note in between a couple chords.
Well, and
Like for the second measure,
yeah.
the tenor, those
Yeah.
first two notes, they just see, oh, it's between a
Right.
note, and they
Well,
just circle that.
And also, like if it's a 5/7, they
Well, I was
circle
gonna,
the
you know, what
7.
about beat 2, where you're passing with a D flat, but that technically could be a 7.
It could be.
Right, that's-
So what
that's-
do you,
It depends if they
as
wrote
a
7.
grader, like if they write the E
They-
flat 7, then they don't have to
They
circle
can't
the D
circle.
flat, and you don't count that wrong.
Right.
But if they leave it marked as an E flat chord and they circle, then
That's
it's
what
fine.
I'm saying, so you have to be careful.
Just that
with
you're,
7s
you
that
match.
you're not.
Can I go
Yeah.
recap? Excerpt analysis usually includes chords that can be identified either as a triad with a non-chord tone or a seventh chord of some type. Students will not be penalized for identifying a triad with a non-chord tone that could be the seventh
Right.
of that chord.
Yeah,
that's
it
good to
depends
know.
how they've identified it.
Yep.
If they've
Okay.
identified it as a 7, then they can't circle it, and that
Right.
happens too. They'll identify it as a 7
And then circle it.
So
They're hedging
if
their
they're
bets.
One or the other,
going to
people.
Identify
Hedging
it
their
as
bets.
a 7, then they cannot circle it as a passing tone.
Yep. Good question. Excellent. 11. Almost there, guys.
Number 11.
Number 11. Level 11. Level 11. Moving on. Yes, there's gazillions more stuff that we could cover, but I'm just trying to hit major highlights.
Yep.
For number 1, the seventh chords in root position or inversion, these are dominant seventh chords, like the E6-5, the D4-2. Those are all dominant seventh chords.
Major minor.
Major, minor. Yep. Major, minor. For the second one, the progression in 4-part harmony. The first chord can be in any position. You see the sample there, right? There's a sample. Other tests have them in different positions.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not nice.
Yes. All right, this is level 7,
They're
level
11.
11.
They're
Level
messing up
11.
my teacher formula.
Yeah. All right, I double checked on that just to be sure. Other tests
Okay.
may start. So just have them practice writing the same progression, starting in different positions with the one chord. The rules are still going to apply. The only new material here, in terms of the 4-part writing, is what do you double in a first inversion chord? You guys know?
Anything but the leading tone.
That's exactly right, because you read it.
I
Yep.
did.
Anything but
It
the
also makes
leading tone.
sense.
Do not double the leading tone. Why? Because the LT goes UP. And if you double the leading tone, then you got parallel eighths at that point. Or yeah. Okay. Yeah. Usually, if you're following common tone, keep it doubling your root position stuff. The LT goes UP and keeping track of the spacing areas. Like honestly, the biggest one is the common tones. That takes out so much other material. 4-part harmonization for number 3. That's only going to give the bass line. Make the tenor high. If you're using your tenor with ledger lines,
Which is
you're
tricky
doing the right
because
thing.
It starts on,
it starts on a
the
high
bass
note.
starts high, so that's
Right, they
why-
force it to
Ledger
keep it up there, and then the bass ends up down here.
That's
If
probably
the,
what
if the
it-
tenor comes down with the,
but it's
that's
also-
yeah, keep that tenor high, keep them high. All right. 2 or 3, we're still staying on that chord. Parallel or 8th errors, parallel 5th, parallel 8ths. Okay. Most of these occur between the bass and an upper voice. That's where the vast majority of those happen. If your upper voices are moving in contrary motion to the bass, it takes care of most of those parallel issues. Then you just have to watch for those upper 3 voices. Okay, but the vast majority of parallel issues happen between the bass and another voice. So if you get used to moving in a different direction than the bass, then that takes care of it. Now you can tell, like in this number 3, a lot of the bass notes are moving down, so a lot of your notes are going to be moving up. Christy?
No, I'm just saying, but you're also starting your tenor high. You're gonna be very
Right,
squished.
which is fine. Give him lots of
Hey,
tenor.
are they allowed to double like a tenor and an alto?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can do that.
totally.
Okay.
Especially if you have inversions, like your poor 2/6 chord over there. Make sure that students can identify 12ths
No,
and
I'm-
15ths as 5ths and 8ths.
I meant
Reduce
like
it to
if-
an octave.
Actual first note, like that's what a unison. You guys say that's okay.
Oh,
I'm talking about a unison.
yeah, I
Like
should
for
be fine.
like if you because if
getting
you're
a
saying you
fine
want your
sky.
soprano to go up and this is going down, like could you have a D and then a D and then a kind of thing?
Well, that's a root position chord.
Well, whatever. I'm just it's
You
a
can't
have the
it's
same
a
note
it's
in
a
both
question.
voices.
Can
I
you
don't
have a
Yes,
unison?
yes, yeah, you can have a
You
unison.
can sing that.
As long as it doesn't go to
I mean,
another
it's
unison
fine.
in the same 2 notes, but the
Well,
same
yeah.
2 voices.
We
but yeah.
would branch out, but okay.
If you have students that struggle with parallel 5th and 8th, like they write a lot of them, just write in the note names. It makes recognizing the 5ths and 8ths a whole lot faster. Like they can see the B and the B going to the G and the G. Oh, well, you might have some parallel stuff going on here. Okay? I don't think we take off a bunch for parallels. Like
I don't-
that's one of
I
the
don't think
upper,
we
some of
can
the
take
upper
off.
levels.
I don't think you
It's more of a
take off.
recommendation.
I don't think-
Because yeah, it's not technically mentioned on the
Right.
test.
But it is in the list of things to
Yeah.
avoid.
Yeah, I know.
So-
It was always a question
It was, yeah.
before.
If you go to, now we can flip the page. You go to number 4. This seemed weird, but I had students who had difficulty getting the correct BPS because the right-hand chords can look like certain inversions. Do you see that? Like if you go, like this chord right here, the right-hand chord.
What's BPS?
Oh, I'm sorry, bass position symbols. Like the 5,
figure
6,
bass.
5, 7,
Your
6, 5,
figure
figure bass.
bass.
Your
Figure bass,
figure
my
bass.
bad.
Figured
Did I,
bass.
I just put it in as BPS.
Yes,
Bass
figured
position
bass.
symbols. Figured bass. Same thing.
Okay, got it.
You got it. All right.
Yep, yep.
All right.
I'm
So
good.
like this one, you know, it looks like a certain.
No, she
But they're
does.
just going from the bass, right? You're
Right.
just supposed to
It's
go from
just
the
the
bass.
bottom.
That's all you look at.
That's all they have to look at. It's the B in bass, but sometimes they'll put in what looks like, you know, the triadic part in from the right hand.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, hang on, what's going on there? Okay. They do have to circle non-chord tones. The non-chord tones cannot be part of the chord.
Yes, be careful. That,
So
I
if they
mean,
identify it
we
as a
get
chord.
silly mistakes with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Almost
Well,
done.
defending the students, I think this is a lot of
Yeah,
heavy
of course.
stuff
No,
for
no,
kids.
no. I mean, there's-
Number 12. I'm at level 12.
Yeah.
We're almost there. Harmony number 1, any bass line can be given. So we are out in the weeds with this one. Any inversion of triads or 7th chord could also show up. You could have 4 3s in this thing. Now it's rare, but it could show up. The only really new thing is if you have a 6/4, what do you double in a 6/4 chord? What do you double in a 6/4 chord?
The bass.
The bass.
It is the bass. It is not the root. Am I just adding in? Yeah, okay, whatever. You gotta double the bass in a 6/4 chord. So the roots in the 6/4s, they're pretty set in stone. The first inversions are the ones you're kind of waffly on. You know, you can pretty much double anything but the leading tone. Also in this one, have students identify which accidentals are needed when you're modulating to a dominant. So you're gonna either modulate to a dominant key or a subdominant. If you modulate to a dominant, you're either going to add a sharp or take away a flat. Okay? If you're going to the subdominant, you do the reverse. You either add a flat or take away a sharp. There. Okay? For harmony number 2, use root position chords as often as you can. I think in this particular excerpt, every chord can be a root position chord. It just simplifies doubling issues
Oh.
tremendously. Okay? Make sure the tenor, here's another one where the tenor just like camps down in the bottom part. double that, put him on a D on that first example. Send him high. If he's up around middle C when he's starting, that's usually about where you want him to be. Okay? In the very last section, this is it. Number 3, non-chord tones include anticipations and suspensions. This messes up your downbeats. So sometimes these chords, second measure, for example, that does not, if you just do the vertical part, it does not look like a chord. Well, look one beyond to try to find if that fits, which is really, and then is it held over, right? That's the big thing. Is it held over from the previous chord? Well, then if it is, then it's probably an anticipation. I'm sorry, it's going to be a suspension at that point. Okay, the anticipations, they get there early. The suspensions, they get there late. That's the only difference. Yeah? Did we do it?
We did it.
Woo!